from The Independent. Scott Jennings said he told the FBI about Keith Olbermann's threat as feud between the two grows. I am going to start this segment right now by saying Keith Olbermann must be arrested for this threat he sent to Scott Jennings. I don't tolerate this. I'm not a law enforcement guy, but he must be criminally charged. I am not playing around. Let me show you what he sent to Scott Jennings. I believe it doesn't appear that they actually have it here. I think they have it in this other one. Let's pull up this one. Now, I will mention Keith Olbermann did apologize. I don't care. In this post, you can see Scott Jennings has CC'd FBI Director Cash. Keith Olbermann tweeted to Scott Jennings, a conservative commentator, "You're next, mother effer, but keep mugging to the camera." Now, I'd like to ask you some questions. Next, of course, correct me if I'm wrong, implies a first, right? And that Scott Jennings is not the first. So when he said, "You're next, mother effer," what would Scott Jennings be the second person to have happened to them in this current context? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, Keith Olbermann says it's not what he meant, but it was clearly, it would be totally reasonable to assume that he was threatening your life.
Why would it in any way be reasonable to assume it could be literally anything else?
Well, I don't think that it would be, but
it would not be. And Keith Olbermann, realizing that he sent a public death threat to Scott Jennings, deleted it very quickly and then reposted something saying, "Your career is next." Now, hold on there a gosh darn minute. Maybe I'm wrong, was there a conservative who got fired from their job in the past 2 weeks? Any prominent conservative personalities got fired from their job or anything?
Conservative?
Yeah. No. How? So when Keith Olbermann said, "You're next, mother effer," yeah. What's the first thing that happened? I mean, nothing has happened to any conservatives except for Charlie Kirk being murdered. So we get the point. And I'm going to add to it with this. I have already had my security team forward to the FBI exact messages just like this. And it is no judge is going to be so dumb as to not realize what Keith Olbermann just did. Okay, if you Google search "You're next" on X, I'm sorry, I say Google search, but because it's a reflex. If you search on X, "You're next," insert conservative personality, you will find wave after wave of death threats. They are all in the context of the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
Now, Keith Olbermann has apologized, saying, "I apologize without reservation," to Scott Jennings. Yesterday wrote and immediately deleted 2 responses to him about Kimmel because they could be misinterpreted as a threat to anything besides his career. I immediately replaced them with one specifying what I actually meant. No, he didn't. And I don't think that matters. I think the issue is the threat was sent. Scott Jennings took it as a threat. Other threats are sent in the exact same way, and we cannot tolerate this. Okay, I'm totally biased. I am taking this very personally because the exact same messages are being sent to me and my team, and we know what it means. And Keith Olbermann is in those exact same circles, seeing those exact same replies. There is no reality where he didn't know. He did it, and then he regretted it, and there must be some,
at the very least,
there must be some criminal charge, criminal action. And all I'm saying is, he goes to court, knock on his door, you say, "You're under arrest. Okay, we're going to process you." They don't got to cuff him even. It doesn't got to be at 4 a.m. Okay, he'll go before a judge. The judge will say, "How do you plead?" He'll say, "I plead guilty," because he got a plea bargain. 20 hours of community service. Don't do it again. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, this is exhibit A of why a society that permits the celebration of political assassinations just invites its own destruction.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like once murder is normalized as speech, that's the end of a republic. And Keith Olbermann is giving you exhibit A right away.
We're there, bro.
Right. Yes. I mean, so yeah, like this is just completely corrosive to the social order. This is the same reason like recruiting for terrorism is banned. It's the same reason it's corrosive to the civic order.
Jimmy Kimmel is reportedly not going to apologize. We don't know if he will or not. I think he should. And if he does, I personally would be satisfied. But let me pause. What did Jimmy Kimmel do? He said that MAGA was trying to paint this guy as anything other than one of their own. He is now going to get the biggest audience he's had in years. Mm-hmm. And if he says, "I was wrong about that," the evidence shows that this shooter actually is aligned with leftist values and was doing this because of his hatred for Charlie Kirk and because he said Charlie Kirk was hateful. If he apologizes and explains that to all of those libs, I will be satisfied. However, staff are threatening to walk out and quit their jobs if he does. So we'll see. I think if Jimmy comes out tonight and apologizes, and it's funny because a lot of people are going to watch this show tomorrow morning. If he comes out and apologizes, and I will be watching it, I will, and he apologizes, I have hope.
It's crazy how much influence these staffers can have in media organizations, because it's not just, I think, ABC, but also big media companies in America where staffers try and bully the editors, of the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, and so on. They actually tried to, Jeff Bezos tried to put in a British editor into, I think, the Washington Post last year, who works for the Telegraph. He's the deputy editor of the Telegraph, which is a British conservative newspaper. Brilliant journalist, one of the best journalists I've ever worked with, incredibly talented. He would have made an incredible editor. But the staff revolted against him and this decision and against Jeff Bezos. And they started publishing hit pieces on him. And he actually pulled out of that the consideration, because I think he felt that, he was going to go into this sort of lion's den, this kind of pit of these young woke graduates who work at the Washington Post and are trying to attack him. So they do this all the time. This is like a left-wing thing to do, is just, we're just going to walk out, and the bosses could just say, well, you're fired then. Well, if you don't want to work for us because of some political decision, you should go. I'm sure we can find lots of other producers and things like that who want to work on Jimmy Kimmel's show. It depends on whether they have the kind of courage and the balls to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it is remarkable how much influence. I agree with you. The fact that, someone that's in their early 20s, emotionally unstable, is going to have that kind of power to be able to get someone like Kimmel or even staffers on the Hill, right? Like, so on Capitol Hill, staffers, they have massive influence over what the Congress people say, because a lot of times the Congress people aren't really read into or read up on whatever the issues at hand are. So the staffers say, this is what you should think, or this is what we want to think, or this is what we should say. And they do really have an incredible amount of influence.
And this tradition actually goes back to communism. In communist China, you have the Cultural Revolution, where you have the students actually attacking the teachers.
Yep.
In the Soviet Union, they actually idolized these kids who were reporting on their parents. There was one kid who reported on his parents for whatever, wrong speak or some political crime against Stalin. And they built a statue of him in Moscow, of this kid, to say, you should be, attacking your elders. And you say they're emotionally unstable. This is the other thing that's crazy in America and in Britain as well, really. The amount of young, and I have to say this does seem to impact women more than men, who are emotionally unstable, who are depressed or on anti-anxiety drugs, think they have ADHD, ADD, they're taking all of this medication. And if you mix in these emotionally unstable, anxious young people in particular, with this radicalization online and through, their friends and their social life and the news and everything, then you get this situation where there is a rise of political violence and there is a rise of radicalization. And then you get these kids walking out on Jimmy Kimmel thinking they control the world, because they can, because these sort of boomers are giving into them.
Well, yeah, and it's worked. I mean, do you remember during the BLM riots, the editorial page editor at the New York Times, and he just ran Tom Cotton's op-ed, which was a very sensible op-ed. And then dozens of New York Times reporters and staffers just tweeted this is putting Black lives in danger. So they've already created the precedent that the staffers can bully these editors. I think the same thing happened at The Atlantic. They hired Jeffrey Goldberg hired a conservative, conservative writer.
Milquetoast, of course.
Yeah, very milquetoast. And the entire staff revolted, and they got the guy fired right away. So it's they already have the precedent that we can just cry and throw a fit and we'll get our way.
There's a real simple solution here, and it's that these media outlets need to terminate all of those staff members. Clean house.
The problem is the way that these journalism departments work in these universities is they just produce activists. It's just an activism mill. So until the people that are hiring these staffers kind of realize that, hey, you might have to seek some more unorthodox hiring practices, you're just going to keep ending up with these activist writing rooms. It's just the reality of the situation.
Well, they're all scared of turning off the spigot. These companies make money. Look what CNN did. They have Scott Jennings because they destroyed their credibility and their ratings by chasing after the anti-Trump narrative to maximize views. I mean, even right now, I'll say this: I don't want to get into the full thing. We may actually do a culture war debate on the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories, but there are a bunch of channels that I've seen with very small followings that are getting millions of views by pushing all of these crazy conspiracy theories about the Charlie Kirk assassination. That will haunt you because you are excising yourself from what I would describe as the majority market. I'm being very nice in how I describe this. CNN effectively did this when they said we're only going to target Trump, and so did Jimmy Kimmel, and that's why his ratings are bad, down 43% a month. You know, we were talking about this on the Piers Morgan thing when I think it was who Fallon had on Greg Gutfeld. Mm-hmm. Apparently the ratings were through the roof.
Oh, yeah. It was like one of his biggest shows in years.
Because regular people were like, I can watch this.
Yep.
But when they decide to be activists, pandering to activists, nobody watches. Perhaps this is Jimmy Kimmel's desperate bid. He's going to come back out tonight and say, I think we've been way too divisive. I think we've been way too hard on our brothers and sisters. And I think I learned something from this past week. We have to be friends. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, maybe I can try and win a market back. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying it's the highest probabilities of what's going to happen. I actually think if someone asked me to put money down, I'd put money down that he's going to criticize MAGA. He's going to offer up a non-apology apology where he says, I could have been more clear. And the joke was ill-timed.
Yeah.
But MAGA twisted my words, something like that, where it's going to be like a lukewarm C- thing that doesn't really apologize.
Well, and even if he does come out and like grovel or whatever, Gavin Newsom's the guest, so they're going to bring him on the panel.
Is that confirmed?
I believe so. Yeah,
I couldn't find that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, at least that's the discussion on Twitter, and that's what I've seen from a few places. So it's like if that's the case.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Sarah McLachlan.
Oh, Sarah McLachlan. I think she's the musical guest tonight.
Oh, is she?
In the arms of an angel.
I saw a lot of people saying, no, it is confirmed, not correct. Newsom will not be on Kimmel.
Oh, okay.
He will be on Colbert.
Oh, fantastic! All right, that's must-watch television.
Same show, right? I mean, same show.
Functionally the same.
Functionally the same, yeah. So if you need just like your brain rotted, then maybe that's a good option.
Well, Kimmel will definitely talk about cancel culture and the hypocrisy of the right. I mean, this has been a line from Obama and all these liberals over the last week, is suddenly they're concerned about freedom of speech when the last sort of 10, 15 years has been the complete reverse situation.
They'll talk about that and they won't mention what YouTube's statement was today.
I just want to stress, I mean, if that is correct, and Jimmy Kimmel opens his show by listing out people who've lost their jobs for criticizing Charlie Kirk, and then he criticizes Charlie Kirk, I am going to pull the shutters down on every building here and double up our security detail. I'm kidding, by the way. But if Jimmy Kimmel actually goes on his show and says, MAGA activists have been getting people fired from their jobs, from nurses and teachers and even me, because we don't agree. And that is wrong. And he totally frames it that way. Man, I don't know if anything could make the right riot, but maybe that would do it.
I could see Kimmel taking that direction because the thing about the left is it's such an inherent, like having left-wing positions is so inherently like gay that they need to seize every chance they can get to
literally though.
No, seriously, I'm not being facetious. It's so every time they have the chance to have like a tough guy position where they can say like, we're standing for free speech. Oh! They never let that opportunity go by. And I guarantee you Kimmel's going to try and do the tough guy thing.
Of course.
Tonight.
Right.
Guarantee it.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.